In fact, let me also take it across to Mr. Dhaval Dalal as well, CIO Fixed Income at Edelweiss AMC. Mr. Dalal, appreciate you taking your time out and speaking with us. Your first thoughts on the RBI monetary policy today, and of course the massive commitment of close to 1 lakh crore that the RBI has said that they will be putting in terms of GSEC buying by the RBI. This is almost 1/3 of the total issuances as far as the RBI had committed earlier. How do you perceive that this is going to be for the bond yields going forward?
Well, honestly speaking, RBI never ceases to surprise the bond market. Honestly speaking, out of everyone on the street, nobody was expecting the RBI to come out with a sort of like a purchase calendar like what has been announced. Having said that, I think the bond market is pleasantly surprised with the Reserve Bank of India's hand holding to the bond market. As we get into the FY22, we know that there is a humongous borrowing program ahead of us, and that was giving some amount of consternation to the bond market participants. But with this one stroke, I think the Reserve Bank of India has given a very strong message that they mean business and they will not let the term premium go higher. In fact, as you know, that the term premiums in India are almost 100 basis points higher than what their average was, and this is an attempt to drive term premium lower. So overall, I believe this is a great move which will help us in keeping some amount of volatility in bond market check.
In fact, that's precisely one of the reasons that we're seeing bond yields reacting quite positively to the RBI's announcement. But on that note, Ajay Srivastava, Mr. Dalal, do stay on with us. We have to take a short commercial break. We will be back and discuss what the RBI has done in just a short while. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. We're continuing with our coverage of the RBI's monetary policy decision. Ajay Srivastava, if I can come to you, we have seen the RBI governor today retaining the growth target at 10.5%. Just yesterday we heard from the IMF as well, and they are expecting that the Indian economy for the next year is going to grow at 12.5%. But one cannot, of course, ignore the kind of surge that we are seeing in the COVID cases and, of course, localized lockdowns, night curfews, all of it now making a comeback as well. In the last 3 days, we've seen cases surpassing the 1 lakh mark for almost 2 days. So how do you look at the concerns, of course, emanating from that? Just when we were seeing things getting back on track, do you believe that the rise in COVID cases could thwart recovery going forward?
Well, it's quite obvious the dislocation is there. But, coming back to your 10.5 doesn't give you any comfort because, take inflation at 5, 6 or whatever percent you want to take. And I'm quite sure the real inflation is much more than what you see in the indices. I don't know who makes indices, but leave that aside. So the real inflation is much more at this point of time than the 5-6% coming through, and it's totally contrary to what the economic policy says will double the farmer's income and the farm produce, and then you expect the farm prices to go down. Now both cannot happen. Either the farm producers at the vegetable market and food market, but the growers get higher prices, or we can have lower prices for the consumer. Both can't be true. So I don't know which one I should believe. The government finance minister says I'm going to increase their retention prices. The RBI governor says it's going to go down. Given the inflation is not going to be less than 5-6% and upward 10% nominal growth rate is no great shakes. I think we'll be, roughly speaking, around 2019, maybe by the end of 2022 at this point of time. So growth rate apart, the COVID apart, the bare fact that the growth rate estimate, which must have been done before this new wave of COVID came in, certainly doesn't give comfort to the bottom sector of the economy. It gives comfort to a lot of the large corporations because they're getting market share. So leave aside the stock market. But that doesn't give comfort to a whole host of India's population as to who needs to come out of the poverty. I think we need a lot more. Will this dislocation cause? Of course, this dislocation will cause problems in the growth sector. Will that dictate the fortunes of companies? That's another thing altogether, because more the dislocation, more the power of the large companies to sustain such dislocation and capture market share. So contrary to the logic that lower growth is bad, lower growth means good for the large companies.
Dhaval Dalal, if I can come to you, we're seeing, of course, the RBI governor retaining the growth target, but we're seeing that the COVID cases, of course, rearing an ugly head once again. And on the other hand, the worry on the inflation front also continues to rise, even though the RBI has revised their inflation forecast. What to understand from you? What are some of the key risks that you see, as far as the forecast that have been put out by the RBI today?
The most important thing from the bond market's perspective is the credibility of the RBI. As you know that the Reserve Bank of India has been ignoring the recent rise in inflation purely to focus on economic growth, because the given state of the affairs that we are in, India's public debt to GDP ratio is almost touching 90%, one of the highest level in the rating bucket that we are in. And it is very important for both the government of India and the Reserve Bank of India to work in sync to ensure that India is put on the path of sustained growth in economy. That is the only way we will be able to get ourselves out of this public debt to GDP ratio and avert a potential downgrade from the international rating agencies. That will be detrimental to everything that the government and the RBI are trying to do. So inflation is rising. Everyone is taking note of that. And having said that, I think the bigger issue for right now for the RBI is the economic recovery. And as the governor has reiterated, the monetary policy will continue to remain accommodative as long as the economic recovery is on sure footing. And from that perspective, it's a welcome sign that the RBI governor has removed the time-based guidance and put an event-based guidance.
How do you view the increase in the limit, overnight limit at the end of day limit in the case of payment banks from 1 lakh to 2 lakhs? Because the whole idea of payment banks and small banks was really that these were meant to cater to the small people. So is the increase in limit warranted, Mr. Gandhi?
Payment bank as a concept we tried. Of course, several did not start up also, and some are thinking of converting themselves into small finance bank. That's the fundamental model based on which it was designed, that these banks should be able to earn a return based on the remittances arranged. So that was the fundamental philosophy at that time. But post government's decision that digital payments of very low value should not be at any cost to the customer. That is a concept which has now been accepted as a public policy. That would mean that these banks will find it, going forward, find it difficult to make money out of the remittance part alone. So that is where they are all thinking about converting themselves into a small finance bank. Reserve Bank has also come out with some enabling arrangements. A committee has recommended. Of course, the final guidelines are yet to come. But that's why. So in the interim, for the payment banks to have greater viability, a larger account base, that is by the limit from 1 lakh to 2 lakh, that they have actually been aiming for up to 5 lakh rupees deposit to be, the total balances to be allowed, but Reserve Bank has now only doubled it from 1 lakh to 2 lakh rupees. So it gives a small leeway for the payment banks to continue, but from the customer perspective, it doesn't make big difference for them, or it doesn't work in any negative way for the customers, because in any case the DICC cover will be available up to 5 lakhs, so here 2 lakhs will automatically get that cover, so that way customers are not affected at all. If at all, payment banks will have little more leeway in terms of managing their affairs.
The inflation projections of the Reserve Bank of India, are they realistic? They are marginally up compared to what the projections that they made in the month of February. But given that we are seeing commodity prices rise all over the world and quite dramatically, are these inflation projections a little conservative, Anand? This was addressed to you, Anand Nageshwaran.
Yeah, sorry about that. My line was on mute. Apologize. I think the answer depends on whether these commodity price spikes would turn out to be sustainable and also have a permanent impact on the underlying inflation rates in the developed world. And there, I think the evidence is still mixed. The central banks in those countries themselves don't believe that the inflation acceleration, if any, would be anything more than transient. So in that sense, I think India's own inflation rates would very much be a function of its own monsoon and food prices, etc. And oil prices, yes, there is some preference by the producers to look at a price of close to 80, but they have also announced an increase in production. So a lot depends on whether the developed countries' growth spur turns out to be just a base effect induced acceleration and then it peters out. And it will also depend on how their financial markets themselves behave. If they have a correction, which is a significant one, then I think animal spirits will go down there. So I think the risk, as he put it, is quite balanced rather than one-sided.
Sure. I just want to quickly mark what the equity markets as well are up to, because while we stepped in with a gain of about 0.5% into policy, since then we've seen a massive recovery coming in. 1.25% higher for the Nifty futures, 14,900 is where we're currently at. 140 F&O stocks standing to the advances with just 19 to the declines. Very quickly then, Ajay, if I could come to you, what really is the takeaway from the market? Because the governor said that I would urge market participants to take heed of our actions, communications and signal in a balanced manner. But the fact that inflation is not really the concern right now, it's still to infuse growth. What do you think the markets should read from the policy?
Yourself, I think that one line statement is perfect. Say that inflation is what it is. I'm going to plumb for growth, and I think that's the takeaway for the equity market. That this RBI governor at this point of time, and as in wisdom, one can argue for and against it, but whatever it is, he's gone for growth at this point of time, no matter what happens to inflation. And that is sweet news for the market, because that means interest rates will be low, and inflation will can still higher, so optically your P&L account, what you were selling for 60 rupees a cement bag, you now sell for 70 rupees a cement bag. So optically the growth rates of every company will go up, and therefore the returns to stock market goes up. So that's sweet music for the market. Now whether that's sweet music for the savers, I do not know, because savers can walk away from this policy and know that their net worth is diminishing by the hour, by the day, because they have got a very, very bad deal for the last 2 years or so when the returns are negative, and it might get even worse. And you saw the trying to reduce the interest rate for the senior citizen, etc. So I think what's good news for the market, good news for stock equity is that growth is in, liquidity will be abundantly made available, and inflation may rear up and may go up, but that's okay. That's good for us, because we will be selling in a market where most industries have now reached pretty monopolistic situation for most large players. So all good news, and that's why you see the market share that now it's time to go back to the races again.
Sure. Okay, Ajay, great to have you on the show, and I would like to thank Mr. R. Gandhi, Anant Nageswaran, as well as Dhaval Dalal as well for joining in. As always, Maithili, thank you as well, as always, for taking the time out and analyzing the policy. Holding up at the highs of the day, 185 points higher right now, 14,900 back on the ticker, and a good market breadth as well. That's pretty much all the time we have on this special coverage of the policy, but stay tuned to ET Now for more.